Welcome to the channel and welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's jump straight into it. So after what feels like years, months and weeks of negotiations, yesterday we had the David Ornstein bomber of the third bid going in from Bryan Mbeumo, and today at the time of recording, literally about 5 minutes ago, as I was recording the video, so I've started it again, we have now had another David Ornstein bomber saying that that deal has been agreed and a deal has been now been reached with Manchester United and Brentford over Bryan Mbeumo. So Manchester United reached agreement with Brentford to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Deal between clubs struck at £65 million guaranteed, plus up to £6 million in add-ons, 4 installments. 26-year-old forward only wanted Man United and moved from Brentford, now being finalised. So that came from David Ornstein confirming that the deal for Bryan Mbeumo has been reached. Brentford have accepted it. That's a good deal actually as well when you think about it. I'll go through some more slides in a second, but £65 million guaranteed, spread out over 4 years as well, which works out roughly about £16.3 million per season, which is actually good for us because that still gives us money to spend this summer when the budget's tight and, you know, it's all restrictions. And maybe that was one of the hold-ups, maybe that was one of the delays. We don't actually know what's gone on in the negotiations and stuff, but ultimately £65 million for Bryan Mbeumo, £6 million in add-ons. According to Alex Crook, those add-ons are meant to be quite difficult to achieve and are more club specific. So i.e. if we get in the Champions League or if we win the Premier League or win the Champions League or whatever in the future, then it's those types of add-ons for the £6 million as well. So £65 million for Bryan Mbeumo, confirmed, deal reached by none other than David Ornstein, who is still, in my opinion, the best football journalist around, and especially when it comes to transfer, because you don't really hear from him. He's like a whack-a-mole that just pops up every now and again, says something, and then that something generally happens, and then you never really hear from him too much in between. So yeah, well, fair play to David Ornstein for he was the one that originally broke that Mbeumo wanted to come to United as well, and fair play to Mbeumo as well for waiting this entire time while we've been in negotiations with Brentford and turning down other clubs and sticking with his guns that he only wants to come to Manchester United, and I like that. It's the same with Matheus Cunha. I think there is value in that. I genuinely do. I think that's something that's important, especially when we're in the process of a rebuild, and to get those sort of players in that want to be here regardless of what competition. And Amorim said that himself, didn't he? We only want to sign players that are here for United, not because of the competitions that we're in. And I think we've signed 2 brilliant ones in Cunha and Mbeumo. And again, there'll be some more slides I'll go through in a second, which will confirm that. But Fabrizio Romano has also given it the here we go. So Bryan Mbeumo to Manchester United, here we go. Green light from Brentford and club-to-club agreement reached for £70 million package, as the Athletic reports. Contact agreed weeks ago with Mbeumo, and he only wanted Man United move after Cunha and Mbeumo next for Man United. So we've had the here we go, the David Ornstein bomber. I am still going to wait until he's signing a contract or holding his shirt, because this has just been one of those deals that seemed like a bit of an emotional roller coaster with the ups and downs. We had the initial excitement, and pretty much at the start of the transfer window, wasn't it, that it was Mbeumo had picked Man United? Was it the day after we'd signed Cunha as well, and the excitement of that, and then the downs with all the negotiations and the deals being rejected over the last few weeks, and, you know, the bullshit stories around medicals and, you know, all of this stuff. But now to finally have it, you know, the here we go and the David Ornstein bomber is still massively exciting, but I still want to wait and see him signing the contract or holding up his shirt, because it's been one of those transfers. But fair play. And ultimately, yes, it's a little bit later than what we as fans probably wanted, but as long as he can get it done and he's on the tour and he can fly to the States next week with the first team squad, that gives Amorim, him, the players, everybody, you know, the best opportunity to succeed as well. So fair play. You know, yes, it's a little bit later than ideally, which would have been last week when everyone was first back from pre-season, but ultimately he's only been back from pre-season himself this week. So it's one of these, isn't it? We've not lost out too much, I don't think, on reflection. Looking at the timing and stuff, but smash a like on the video. Let me know what you think about Mbeumo in the comments. Do you think Do you think good signing? Let me know. Let me know down below. And I actually think it's okay, especially when you look at the price compared to some of the others. And this could have been some of the sticking points in the negotiations. We don't know actually what's been going on behind the scenes in the negotiations. We don't know why we've been slow at this deal. Maybe it's been because of I think it's been a bit of both. I think we've been trying to get the right structure for us. And then I also think Brentford have been moving the goalposts as well. And it's just one of these. It is what it is. It takes as long as it takes. And ultimately, we've got them in, I think, in time for it to not really be a drama for us this window, which is ideal. But maybe that is why Brentford moved the goalposts a little bit. When you look at the prices that some of the other players have gone for, so Elanga, Madueke, Kudus, and Gittins, all for around 50 to 55 million pounds, nowhere near as many goal contributions as Mbeumo, 25 years old. I think 65 million pounds is actually a good price for a player of his quality, because it's not just that. It's everything that comes with him as well. He's like the third furthest runner in the Premier League as well. He is a worker as well as a creator and a goal scorer as well. Like, I think we're getting a really, really good player. I just hope the fact that he wants to come and it seems to be coming for the right reasons. I just hope the weight of the shirt doesn't weigh too heavy on him. That's the only unknown about any signing. You don't know how they're going to perform at Old Trafford, and once they've got the shirt on. But you can do. This ticks pretty much all of the boxes that I think we would be looking for in a forward in Mbeumo. So I'm massively excited around this deal. But let me know how you feel in the comments. And interestingly as well, so this was from Statman Dave, so players with 100+ take-ons and 15+ goals in the Premier League last season: Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha, Mo Salah, and Cole Palmer, an elite group. And we've just signed 2 of them. So credit where it's due to the club and stuff, because I know it's frustrating and I get frustrated as well. I'm a fan. I have emotions. I go up and down all the time when you're hearing stories and, all of this stuff, right? Ultimately, I think, you can't really fault. I think we've shown ambition. We've gone out and got 2 of the best players for the system or for, the style of player that we want to play in the Premier League in Mbeumo and Cunha, because Salah's obviously, we're not going to get Mo Salah, and Cole Palmer's going to cost probably more than what we've just signed these 2 combined together to get from Chelsea. What was it, 125.5 million or something like that with Mbeumo and Cunha, and I think Chelsea would want way more than that for Cole Palmer. So we've bought 2 of the best around, I think, for the system and everything that we want to do. So I'm massively excited. Again, want to see him holding the shirt and stuff up, though, because it has been such an emotionally, challenging transfer, but got there in the end. Players signed. That's all that matters. He signed, and then hopefully we can get medical and everything like that done this weekend, and he can be on the plane with the rest of the squad, flying off to the States on Tuesday. And that's all that matters regarding it. I'm just going to check my notifications because I'm literally recording this video at the time all this news is breaking. So I just want to see, because my phone is going off it. Fabrizio Romano saying that Bryan Mbeumo has already gotten the green light for medical test and contract signing. He was never tempted by other clubs, so that's good. So he's already being penciled in and lined up for medical. Personal terms are apparently already been agreed. Have already been agreed for a while as well. Bryan Mbeumo is set to go on the club's US tour next week. That came from Chris Wheeler as well. So looking good, looking like we can get this deal done in time for him to be on the tour. But smash a like on the video if you're excited. Let me know what you think about all of that in the comments below. Now let's move on to some other transfer news. So Sesko has been followed closely by United scouts for more than 3 years, and a source confirmed the club has been in contact again this year. United are understood to be admirers of Sesko's all-round game and believe his style would suit the Premier League. Despite interest from elsewhere, a source said Sesko would favour a move to Old Trafford over other destinations. Now, that came from Sam C, who's a decent source. Ben Jacobs did say something similar. I read yesterday as well regarding Sesko and Manchester United. Now, interestingly, David Ornstein said the following back in April regarding United's target. Said, I'm not sure at present, but perhaps Man United aren't either. We know Sesko was favoured a year ago, and he is joined by the likes of Delap on the radar this time round. The issue is the leading clubs seeking a striker tend to be looking at the same pool of players, and that pool is not deep. So even if Man United are a leading candidate, it doesn't mean they will get him. So that was David Ornstein back in April suggesting that Sesko, along with Delap, are on United's radar. Obviously, we know we went for Delap, but he decided to go to Chelsea. But, you know, that's interesting regarding Sesko. So, and I do think he is a player that we've been trying to sign for a few years. I'm just not sure. It feels a little bit convenient because he would have gone, like, especially if we go back to the original Port Sam C saying, despite interest from elsewhere, a source said Sesko would favour a move to Old Trafford. I would disagree with that because Arsenal were in negotiations, and if Arsenal had got a deal over the line, he would be an Arsenal player now, which might leave us in the kind of dragged out negotiations that Arsenal were having with Gyökeres, by the way. I mean, is that a bullet dodged? Potentially, I think, with the way those negotiations have gone on, but reading between the lines. But yeah, what do we think about Sesko? He's one for me, like, great goal scorer. He scores some, like, his highlight reels are very, very impressive with the types of goals that he scores. Like I can't see that he scored a tap in his like from his highlight reels and stuff. And he's a player that, you know, we have been heavily linked with for a while, even before Ineos and Vivell and everyone like that came in. I'm just not sure if he's right for the system, and it would be an expensive purchase for a young striker that's un-Premier League proven, and it doesn't sit right with me that I'm burnt from the mistakes that we've made in the past, and especially signing big, expensive players from the Bundesliga as well. We do not have a good history of doing that. In fact, we've got a terrible history of buying players from the Bundesliga that are really good, and I don't think there's been a successful one yet that's come to United. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, give us some thoughts and shouts on that, but off the top of my head, Kagawa wasn't exactly, you know, mesmerising like he was for Dortmund. Mkhitaryan the same. Jadon Sancho, dare I say more. Bastian Schweinsteiger was good, but always injured. You know, not got the best record in recent times. Owen Hargreaves, going back in the day, was a great player, but his injury record was horrendous when he came to us as well. As much as I like Owen Hargreaves, I thought he was a really good player. But we don't have a really good history of buying players from the Bundesliga. But give us your thoughts in the comments. And Sesko's, you know, not the worst idea in the world. 45 appearances, 21 goals, 6 assists. So he puts, you know, he's putting some goals in. Numbers, young, up and coming, developmental. I just worry about the cost. I just genuinely worry about the cost because it's a big, expensive striker. And if that doesn't work, then you've got Højlund, who's been a young, expensive striker, probably still on the books. We'll go through his updates in a second. And then you've got Sesko, another young, expensive striker on the books. And then what happens? What do you do if he doesn't work? So I think it's a big expense for an unproven player in the Premier League, and I think I'd much rather us go and get like Watkins or Mateta or, you know, one of those two to add to the front line just to keep that experience for the time being, and then we can work on the striker in the future. But, you know, give us your thoughts and feelings. I know some of you like Sesko from previous videos as well, so you'll probably disagree with everything I've just said there, but give us your shouts in the comments below. So let's move on to the goalkeeper situation. So Emi Martinez will not move to Manchester United if Andre Onana remains at the club. Now, that came from Paul Hurst in the Times, who's a good source. There's loads of news recently regarding Emi Martinez and coming to United and talks of release clauses and all this nonsense, mainly coming from South American journalists and reporters. And the more credible ones like Romano and Ben Jacobs, Paul Hurst, the more sort of United-based journalists, I would say, or UK-based journalists anyway, have not really said anything in relation to that, and it always felt a little bit one-sided to me. But because the reality is, according to Paul Hurst, we ain't getting Martinez if Onana's still in goal, and there's no indication that any club is interested in Onana. There's a couple of, you know, rumours around Saudi interest, but there's nothing concrete. He's obviously injured. I don't think his injury is quite as serious as it was initially reported, which is good, but he's still out injured at the moment as well. So unless Onana goes, I don't think we're bringing in a new number one goalkeeper. What we might do, though, is bring in a new number two. So there's been absolutely a few reports coming out regarding Senne Lammens. So Manchester United ready to push ahead in efforts to sign Senne Lammens this summer. 23-year-old seen as goalkeeper to rival Andre Onana for minutes next season, valued at £17 million by Royal Antwerp. So that came from Graham Bailey, suggesting that United are pushing ahead to sign or to get a deal done for Senne Lammens this summer. He is a name that we've been linked with for a while. Not so much recently, but over the last few days, there's been a few more reports regarding Lammens. £17 million, you know, and if we've saved a bit of money by brokering the Mbeumo deal the way that we have, so doing those payments over 4 years, so £16 million, we could potentially still have some budget left or some wiggle room in the budget to go and get somebody like Senne Lammens, who would be relatively cheap, and especially if you can structure that deal over 3 years as well, it's going to be, plausible for us to do as well. Ben Jacobs said that Antwerp goalkeeper Senne Lammens is on Manchester United's radar. Some initial talks have already taken place this summer, with interest dating back to January. I think Alex Crook has said something similar as well. And interestingly, no goalkeeper in the world has made more saves, or 177, or prevented more goals, 16.47, than Senne Lammens, Antwerp 22 this season. That came from Data MB. So he is a very, very good young, up-and-coming, promising goalkeeper, and I like the idea of that, because the reality is we're not getting a number one goalkeeper unless Onana leaves, and there's no rumours or there's no links, there's no... not even like bullshitty rumours around Onana going anywhere. We had like one from Monaco, which Romano pretty much debunked straight away. And so we've had a little bit of talk around Monaco and Onana, but there's not been anything else of substance reporting that he's going to be potentially going. So if Onana doesn't go, we're not going to have the funds to go out and get a number one goalkeeper. But what we could do is remove Bayinda, and obviously there was talks that his agents had a meeting with United this week, and go for somebody like Senne Lammens as a number two that can push and compete with Onana, according to those reports as well. So maybe that's one to pay attention to and keep an eye on, and see whether, now that we've got the Mbeumo deal done, obviously we'll need to get that wrapped up first and get it all finalised and all official and stuff, but maybe we are starting to then look for the next incoming, which could be goalkeeper, and I would be happy with that as well. We could push that deal through now that we know the exact finances and the financial package around the Mbeumo deal. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments. But the reality is, for the rest of the transfer window now, the main focus is going to be on exits, because if we want to go for a Sesko, for example, or somebody of that nature, we're going to need money, and the only way to get money for United is by selling players. So let's go through all the exit news. So AC Milan have made an inquiry in the last few hours about Rasmus Højlund to assess the feasibility of a potential deal. Now, that came from Damarcio. Damarcio's like, I don't know, like all over the place this transfer window. He's been saying all sorts of stuff. So I'm actually starting to I don't know the credibility, hit and miss, maybe more miss than hit recently as well, I would say. So he's normally quite good when it comes to Italian news, and was once upon a time one of the most credible journalists around. But I don't know what's happened recently. He's just been absolutely all over the place with his reporting. So, I'd want to see a bit more credibility regarding that. But there has been a few reports of interest from Italy in Rasmus Højlund. I don't know if AC Milan would have the money to buy Højlund. That maybe would be a loan with an obligation to buy, which I don't know if that helps us create space in the squad. I don't know if it gives us the money to go and buy somebody. But there were reports before saying that United might be prepared to take a PSR loss on Højlund if it gives us the cash in order to then go and buy a striker. So we'll need to wait and see how that one plays out. But AC Milan, Rasmus Højlund could be plausible, but I'd want to see a bit more credibility than Damarcio at the moment, who seems to be a little bit hit and miss. We'll say that. Now, the other player is Sancho. So Ben Jacobs had the following to say regarding Sancho. So in the last kind of 48 hours, there has been a little bit of progress regarding the kind of package and offer from Juventus. Sancho hasn't given a final green light yet. So Ben Jacobs suggesting that Sancho, a little bit of progress, but he still hasn't given the final green light to go to Juventus. Rudy Giletti said that Juventus are edging closer to a deal for Jadon Sancho. Talks with United and the players camp are progressing fast with a contract and fee nearly agreed. Corella della Sport have said this time the finish line is truly there. So what do you mean? Like the other times you were lying? This time the finish line is truly there, just a stone's throw away. After a long period marked by a series of approaches, Juventus feel they have Jadon Sancho in their grasp. Contacts with his agent, Amica, obviously spotted in Turin in recent days, have effectively allowed the parties to iron out some details, including the severance package that Man United has guaranteed the players. So Corella della Sport suggesting that there has been meetings, and we've been bringing that over the last couple of days. There have been reports of Sancho's agent agent being interim with meetings for Juventus. Graham Bailey said that Inter Milan have joined the hunt for Jadon Sancho and have made inquiries for the Manchester United winger. Ademola Lookman is Inter's top target, but they are doing work on other options that include Sancho. So there was a report actually the other day suggesting that Inter Milan might look at Sancho if they don't get the Lookman deal done and dusted. So we'll have to pay attention to that as well. But give us your thoughts on Sancho in the comments. And then the final story, before I just double check to make sure there's not been any more breaking news while recording, so Laurie Whitwell said Ruben Amorim is planning for a small squad in pre-season to replicate the campaign ahead, which features no European football for the first time in 11 years. And interestingly, so that's probably smart, because we do need a reduced squad. We don't quite need to rotate as much because we've only got the domestic games this season. Laurie Whitwell said, interestingly, one of those players could be Diego Leon. So Diego Leon has impressed in training this week. He was not immediately assigned a squad number because staff wanted to see how he fared and where his status should be pitched. But interestingly, Man United have come out saying he's got the number 30 shirt as well. So clearly, if he wasn't given initially a squad number because they weren't sure whether he was going to stay in the first team squad or be amongst the first team squad or with the reserves or potentially going out on loan. But the reports are he's been quite impressive in training, and I have high hopes for Leon because the guy looks like he looks like a rugby player. Absolute unit for a guy that's 18 years old. Like, I'd definitely give him my pocket money if I walked past him in the street. But interestingly, he's now been given a squad number as well, which is positive. So hopefully we can see him get some minutes at maybe the game tomorrow. Got a game tomorrow, finally. Can be so interesting to see Matheus Cunha. Like, I'm buzzing to see how he fares. Would have been nice to get Mbeumo on the pitch, but it is what it is. We are where we are. We've got him anyway. We just need to get that deal wrapped up and medical booked and everything as well. But give us your thoughts on Diego Leon. What do you think? What do you think about that in the comments below? Just going to double check to see if there's not been any more breaking news, because my phone has been lighting up like a Christmas tree while I've been speaking. So Bryan Mbeumo's contract at Manchester United will be valid until June 2030, plus options till June 31. United want the +1, and it's been included in the agreement. So that came from Fabrizio Romano. So 2030 with the option to 2031 for his contract. And nothing else really. I'm sure there'll be loads by the time I upload this video as well. But give us your thoughts and feelings on everything in the comments below. Don't forget to smash a like on the video. On your way out, subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.